What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv Black, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, hope your Memorial Day weekend was good. Hope your holiday weekend was good. Barbecuing, cookouts, whatever you want to call it. Hope you was having fun doing all of that stuff. Maybe you saw a good movie or something like that. I know it was an award show weekend. It was a good weekend for my boys. And I know it was a good weekend for anime. How do I know this? Because even though a lot of people watch the American Music Awards, for me, my American Music Awards was the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Yes, it was. Now, don't mind if you hear some outside noise. You know, it's getting hot out here, so I got to make sure I have my windows open. But anyway, let's talk about it real quick. So, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards is an award show that, if you don't know, I think it's been going on for the greater part of the past, 8 years, if I'm right. I think the Crunchyroll Awards started in, 2017. If I'm right, if I look that up. It was the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. I don't know why I'm just saying Crunchyroll Awards. Yeah, Crunchyroll Anime Awards. So, this has been going on since, I believe, 2017. It's been going on for a long time. So I just wanted to talk about some of the awards that happened over the week. Now, if there's one award show that I will bring up, and if there's one thing I will bring up about this award show, is that I'm not going to talk to you guys about who won for Best Voice Artist, because I don't really watch all of the dubs. The only dub that I watch is the one that I understand, which is English. When it comes to Japanese, yes, I do watch it, but I don't even know those performers neither. There's certain performers I know, and after a while you start hearing voices and you go, that sounds like that person from that other anime, but you don't know their names, and that's understandable. So I'm not going to focus on those. Although I will say that the German voice of Monkey D. Luffy, he is the reason that One Piece only got one award for the whole entire evening. They did not win any other awards at all, except this one. So shout out to, let me make sure I'm getting the name right, Daniel Schloss. Daniel Schloss. He voices Monkey D. Luffy in One Piece in German. And he is the reason One Piece even got any award wins for the entire evening. And that's technically not even One Piece. That's more just saluting that dude. But it is what it is. That's the One Piece is going to have to take. Yeah. So that is a tough night for One Piece fans. It is a tough night for One Piece fans. But we'll get to that in a moment. I'll finish up more talking about that. Let's just go into the award show. Now, they had a pre-show and they had the actual award show, and I got to give it up to them. They've been getting more and more celebrities over time. I know in the past they've had stars like Zelina Vega of the WWE and different stuff like that. Excuse me, WWE Women's United States Champion Zelina Vega, first Hispanic woman to win the United States Championship, second woman to win the championship, but that's neither here nor there. I know they've had that before. I just want to put some respect on her name, NYC. And this year, I know they had Casey Musgraves, and they had a lot of other different celebrities there. So it's starting to build on its popularity, which is cool. And FYI, Casey Musgraves didn't just pull up. She pulled up dressed like one of the Sailor Scouts. I believe she dressed like Sailor Moon, but she was in all black, which I'm sure is more into the lore of Sailor Moon than I might not know. But shout out to her. She came through super cosplayed out, and I appreciate that. She didn't just pull up to be like, well, I'm here for some award show, just wanted to show love, and now I'm out. Anyway, there was other people, but I don't want to go into that. I just want to go into who did what with what. So I just want to talk more about just who won these awards at this whole thing. So we're just going to go right. Like I said, we're going to go past the voice artists, and I just want to focus more on just a lot of just the main stuff, because they have stuff like best anime ending sequence was Request by K Rage, which is crazy because they had two different types. But anyway, best anime ending sequence was Request by K Rage. Now, I can't be mad at that, although I was kind of rooting for Nobody by One Republic. That one was pretty good. And Tai Dada from Dandadan by Zutomayo. That was pretty good. But the first ending of Solo Leveling was pretty good. And this is for the ending song that plays at the end of an anime. In this case, it was Solo Leveling. So that was Solo Leveling's one win. Mind you, Solo Leveling took home 9 anime awards, which I don't know if that's a record, but that's a pretty high number. I feel like that might be a record because this thing has been going on for so many times. So I don't even know if that was a record or not. But it's always something we could look up. Who won the most anime awards? Was it Solo Leveling? Did they take that home? Yeah. Well, Solo Leveling won it in this year. And Jujutsu Kaisen, nope, it didn't beat it. Jujutsu Kaisen won 11 awards in 2021. So that answers that question real quick. So back to what we were talking about. Now, best opening sequence, which is the opening theme of an anime, which anime is really the only ones that's shutting the game down with openings. Back in my day when I was younger, English cartoons could rival anime with some of these songs. Not all, but some. Now, that ship has long sailed. So it's an anime world, and we just living in it when it comes to these opening and ending themes. So no surprise here, but Otonoke from Creepy Nuts by from Dandadan is the winner. Also acceptable would have been Bling Blang Bang Born. It was the same artist. They had an amazing 2024. They started with a fire opening and they ended with a fire opening. There was no way. A lot of people were saying it should have been Us by Hiroshi Kitadana from One Piece. Really good opening. Really good. But it wasn't. Come on now. Come on. That joint was hitting. If you went to any Comic-Con parties last year, when that song came on, everybody lost their freaking minds. People was in there like, oh, this shit is tough. That song and the Mashal joint, when that came out, people was at Anime NYC parties and all of that, and they was doing a little dance. Come on now. There was no way. It was no way this wasn't winning. So anyway, let's move on and speed this thing up a little bit. So we have best anime score, which is basically the music you're hearing in the background while the anime is going on. That went to Solo Leveling, which I really feel it should have went more towards Bleach or Frieren or even Demon Slayer. Those were just more intense. They just hit harder. Look Back also. That one was really good too. So that was a tough choice, but I felt like that should have went to one of them. Bleach be having the intense music like they really are going through hell. So it's, really works. Best anime song, which I believe they just went with overall song. I think they went with, it could have been either ending or an opening, which again, no surprise, Otonoke by Creepy Nuts, Don to Don. No surprise, once again. It could have went either way for either song that Creepy Nuts made. 2024 was their year. Next, Must Protect at All Costs character. Also, this one I felt was a no-brainer. It was Anya Forger. Be mindful, I'm going to put courtesy, via Crunchyroll. Not trying to steal from them, but I am going to put these nominations next to it so that way you guys can see. So it's not just me saying it. But at the end of the day, it was down to Anya Forger, and I felt like it should always be down to Anya Forger. As long as this anime comes on, she should keep winning this award. It really, to me, isn't another person on there. Some people might feel differently, but Anya's like super adorable. It's a small child who's a telepath. Like, what more could you ask for? And literally the whole thing with the show is whenever she is in some trouble, Lloyd and Yor, they just go off. Like, that's when their like serious mode comes out. So it works itself out. Let's see. Best supporting character. We went with Fern from Frieren. And this one was also a wise choice. I mean, the whole point of this was Frieren, she was going on a new journey that she honestly didn't need to go on. And this worked itself out. She had to train somebody new. And this person became as strong as her, maybe even stronger. We don't know yet until we see like a season 2 or 3. So I thought this was the right choice. Psycho was pretty cool too, because I remember all last summer it was like, yo, hot grandma. And Turbo Granny was funny. But I really felt like she was the best choice. Best main character, we went with Sun Jin Woo, which, man, I really thought Freeran had it, but Sun Jin Woo does technically make the most sense. So I can't be mad at that either. I mean, this dude just kept getting stronger and stronger, having firefights over time. So you can't really be mad at that. So it does work itself out. Next, we just running through this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, best slice of life, that one, I'm not going to lie. These were some of the nominations where it kind of just went south for me because I wasn't really watching a lot of those shows. Do I enjoy a slice of life anime? Yes, I do. There's certain ones that I could sit back and just watch, and they don't have to involve powers. They don't have to involve a bunch of twists and turns. It could just be simple people just living their daily lives. And they found one in Makin, Too Many Losing Heroines. So that one might have involved powers. I'm not going to act like I sit here and know what it's about. But I probably would have randomly voted for either Laid Back Camp or Sound Euphonium. But that's just me. And then y'all would have looked at me like, yo, what are you doing? You don't even know what it's about. So I actually omitted voting that because I didn't want to vote for something just based off of, these are legit shows I have not watched. And that's okay. Everybody has their genre of choice. And that, for me, was not it. Best drama, we went to Freeran, Beyond Journey's End, which is fair. If not Freeran, I probably would have said Apothecary Diaries or Pluto. But let's be real. Freeran was just so good. It was so good. My gosh. I got on the train late. But when I got on, I didn't want to get off. That show was really good. Next, best isekai anime. Once again, another genre that I don't really be on like that. But when I do watch it, is there. Like, for example, I used to really like That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. But I feel like with isekai, once the character gets too powerful, I don't know. For me, I kind of lose interest. I just kind of feel like, where else are we going with this? Is the character's too powerful? We need another type of story. And with that, Rimuru just got too powerful for me. Now, feel free to tell me in the comments, yo, that's not the case anymore. Maybe he's not that powerful or somebody's more powerful or whatever. But I just feel like that's where it got. It's not to say that it's boring. It just didn't become my interest anymore. For me, if I would have voted, actually, I did vote. I voted Konosuba because that's the one I actually watched because it went from being a parody of isekai anime to an actually funny just isekai in itself. Because that's what it became. Because this guy's trapped here. It's not like he can go back. So it became that kind of funny vibe in itself to me. And I know a lot of people talk about Shangri-La and how much they like it. So I do owe it that much. But a lot of people also told me it's more because of the action than it is because of the story. Same thing with Suicide Squad. I didn't even think this should be on here, but I think they just went with like, yo, this was an isekai that came out last year, so deal with it. But shout out to ReZero. ReZero, I did give a chance. I just couldn't, I couldn't grasp onto it for some reason. And maybe I'll come back to it. Anyway, best action anime, Solo Leveling. Here's what sucks for me. I voted Windbreaker because it was action in the sense that it was just fighting. Like every episode for the most part was fighting. Not every episode, but majority of it. And when they got to the arc where they were fighting a rival school, oh my gosh, those were some of the best fights I've seen in anime in a while. We could also go with Bleach. I mean, it's really a toss-up here. So the fans went with Solo Leveling. That works for me. It works for me. Best comedy, we chose Mashle, which I didn't agree with that. I really felt it should have been Konosuba. Konosuba is one of the funniest anime out there. Spy X Family also, and Ranma, but Konosuba is so funny. It's so funny. Best romance. This one also is one I don't really watch. I need to get on Blue Box 1. I am way too behind on Blue Box and stuff like that. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I don't think should have won, but it was one I probably would have voted for because those are the two shows I've seen. And Scott Pilgrim wasn't horrible, but it was it was crazy. It was crazy, but it was meant to be crazy. Let's see. Best background art. So that one went to Freeran. I don't really have any arguments there. I'm not really going to be picky on that. Freeran is fine. Best director. This one was an interesting one to me because we had the winner was Kiichiro Saito, right, for Frieren Beyond Journey's End. But there was also Haru Sotozazi for Demon Slayer's Hashira training arc, Fuga Yamashiro for Dan Dan Dan, no Norihiro Naganuma for the Apothecary Diaries, and Yoshihiro Miyajima for Delicious in Dungeon. Man, I hope I didn't butcher any of those names. I tried my best and I took my time. But this one really surprised me. Megumi Ishitani, the director of the One Piece fan letter episode. Mind you, the reason why I say that's surprising to me is because all of these other ones that were nominated for directing the whole series, or maybe just episodes of the series. This person got nominated for directing just one episode, not several, not a One Piece arc, just one episode. And even though it was a filler episode, it was one of the best episodes ever. So if you look at it like that, this is just crazy. Everybody else was going up against a filler episode. They wasn't going up against an actual anime with its canon episodes. No, this was a filler episode. Did it involve canon points? Yes, but it was a filler episode. It had really not anything that was crucial or integral to the actual storyline of One Piece. It was just its own story in itself. And it was so good. It was so good. Telling different events of One Piece from random perspectives of townspeople that really have nothing to do with Luffy or any of the Straw Hat crew or any of even the main bad guys. And it was told so efficiently and so good, so vividly, that this filler episode almost won against a bunch of elite anime. That's crazy. That is crazy to me. But again, for you One Piece haters, it lets you know you need to start watching. Because if this person won, woo, ladies and gentlemen, the trash I would have been talking right now, as a fellow One Piece fan, the trash I would have been talking right now would have been immense. Moving on, before I go into a full tangent. Best character design went to Dan Dan Dan, which, again, if you look at the nominees, no arguments here. No arguments here at all. Best animation, again, more of no arguments. That went to Demon Slayer's Hashira training arc. Cool with that. Not going to argue that. One could argue it. There's maybe Dan Dan Dan, but I'm good. Best original anime went to Ninja Kamui. Now, I had to put my pride to the side for this one because a part of me wanted to say Buchigiri, a part of me wanted to say Girls Ben Cry, and a part of me wanted to say Trade to the End of the World. But Ninja Kamui, despite that just pretty garbage ending, despite that low point where the anime decided to put on mech suits after episodes of just high-octane ninja fighting, that Mappa was just blessing us with beautiful animations. At some point, somebody decided to pivot and go, maybe they should wear robot suits. No. Yeah, let's put them in robot suits. And let's make sure the robot suits, like, they got to charge them every so often. It's not just something where they can just fight. I had to put that to the side and say, this anime wasn't terrible. It just went south so fast. And it disappointed so many people. It was crazy. And then we have Best New Series, which went to Solo Leveling. I would have said Frieren, but Solo Leveling was good. But I definitely would have said Frieren or Dan Dan Dan. Because all of these, with the exception of Solo Leveling, and I'd say with the exception of Dan Dan Dan, and maybe Kaiju number 8, these are like sleeper anime. Like, nobody could really say that they knew. Not a lot of people could say that they knew Frieren was gonna come out the gate and just hit. Not a lot of people could say the same thing for the Apothecary Diaries. You can't say that you sat there and said, oh, I know this is about to eat. You can't say that. So Solo Leveling did that thing. Best continuing series. This one hurt my feelings. For 2 years? For the past 2 years, One Piece has won this award. And then earlier, in 2019, One Piece won the award. So for back-to-back years, it was going for a three-peat, and Demon Slayer's Hashira Trainer arc dethroned One Piece and won for best continuing series. I really felt One Piece should have won that, but I think it's because they caught One Piece lacking when One Piece said we're going to take a 6-month break and we're going to just make a filler arc retelling Fishman Island. I think to them, they was like, that's not continuing. That's not continuing at all. So for this reason, I think this is the reason why One Piece lost. I 100% believe in my heart that if One Piece keeps going the way it's going with the continuation of Egghead into Elbaf, it will win this award again next year. But for this year, they just felt like Demon Slayer was the better vibe, so here we are. But One Piece was robbed. I'm just gonna say it. It was robbed. It should have won that. Let's see. We got 3 more left. We have the anime film of the year, which was Look Back, which I 100% agree. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Haikyuu's dumpster battle was really, really good. But Look Back, it only took an hour, but it is one of the most emotional, and at the same time, beautiful works of art I've ever seen in an anime film. Yes, we have the Miyazaki films and stuff like that, and that was good, but this was just like, wow, so good in 1 hour. Shout out to my boy G. My brother put me onto this movie. I ended up watching it. I said, oh my Lord. I was crying. I was legit crying. It was so good. Jesus, I can't even go on about it. There's certain anime, ladies and gentlemen, you know. There's certain anime that you can't deny it. This will make every thug cry. Toughest thug in the room. Watches Look Back. Kotaro Lives Alone. Your Lie in April. Oh, it'll eat them up. Pause. It'll make them sad. It'll make them sad. It'll make them sad. It'll just really hit them there. But anyway, yeah, it really, really is just that good of a movie. Haikyuu's dumpster battle was good too. Don't get me wrong. If Look Back didn't come out last year, I would have said Haikyuu's dumpster battle was the best. Especially the first person view where they were showing them playing volleyball. It was so fluid and still worked at the same time. So that one should have been there as well. Yeah, Look Back was good. And then best anime of the year went to Solo Leveling. This one definitely was a toss-up to me because a lot of people believe this should have been Frieren. Some people believe this should have been Don the Don. For me, I wouldn't say Delicious in Dungeon because it was definitely a sleeper anime, but I don't think it was anime of the year. Kaiju number 8 was also a sleeper anime that I told many of people was going to be fire, but I don't believe it was anime of the year. Same thing with Apothecary Diaries. All good anime. Just anime of the year though, I don't know. So what I think happened is, let's be real, folks. The way this award show works is that it's based on fan voting, right? And they said that there were 10 countries that really got them very, like, a lot of the votes were coming from those 10 countries. If I could just see real quick what was the 10 countries. I know the US was one of them. I know the UK was another one of them. And I think it was like Chile. It was like a bunch of awards. But, I mean, not a bunch of awards, a bunch of countries. But be that as it may, you know what? I'm not even going to go through all that. But be that as it may, what I do know is that these countries did most of the voting. And I think what happened was people didn't just vote because of Solo Leveling's first season. I think they voted more on the series as a whole. I forgot when they released, like when the votes were first brought, when the nominations were first brought out. But what I do remember was just that, like, I think it was earlier in the year 2025. So because of that, I think what happened was people were just watching this and just going to themselves, oh, okay, you just want me to vote for Solo Leveling as a whole, then I'll do that. And I think that's what caused Solo Leveling to get most of the awards that it got. You know? I think that's what happened. Because if you look at the voting for the Crunchyroll Awards, let's see, the Anime Awards. Yeah, see, voting took place between April 3rd and April 14th of 2025. You get what I'm saying? So if you look at it that way, yeah, through April 14th. So if you look at it that way, what show was happening in 2025? Solo Leveling's second season, right? Solo Leveling second season took place between that time period. And I think it ended, if I'm right, it ended in March. So if you look at it in that frame, by the time they start voting, you're not voting for Solo Leveling's first season. You're voting for Solo Leveling's series. You're voting for seasons 1 and 2. But this voting was for everything for 2024. That's why Freerun was still nominated. That's why Dandadan was nominated. Because if we were going for 2025, and it wouldn't be a lot of these anime on there. It would be more of the anime that premiered maybe at the end of 2024, but more in the beginning of 2025, which is not a lot. So I think that's what happened. People were voting for this based solely off of the fact of like, yo, I just saw season 2. It was amazing. This is why I feel it's what it is. And I don't think that's fair. I think that Crunchyroll should focus on probably doing the votes at the end of 2024. So that way, by the time 2025 starts, it should be an earlier anime awards. But now you voted for Solo Leveling's first season and not the second. Because now in 2025, we're just going to re-vote for Solo Leveling's second season. You get what I'm saying? Like that's not adding up. That to me is not adding up. That's like a movie. That's why they have like the Oscars and the Grammys. That's why they have a window where you can't vote for the show anymore, or you can't vote for the song or the movie. So if the movie comes out after the window, it can't be eligible to get an Oscar for that year. I have to wait a whole nother year. So I know that's annoying, but I think it's like if you're gonna, and I feel like Crunchyroll was aware of this, so they probably was just like, it's cool. You're voting for Solo Leveling. Who cares? But I just feel like 2024 was still a good year for Solo Leveling. But if we didn't look at season 2, would it have beaten Freerun? Would it have beaten Dandadan? That is the questions you have to figure out. And lastly, they gave away another award known as the Global Impact Award. Now, this award was given out to an anime that they felt was just impactful in its just awesomeness for a long period of time. And that award went to Attack on Titan. So if I read this right, let me make sure I was reading this right, because I had queued it up. And I put so many different things on there that queue is gone. And that's okay. But anyway, it was supposed to, it was supposed to represent the just the main overall impact that the anime has had in terms of its culture, which is true. Attack on Titan the manga ended way before the anime, and the anime ended about a couple years ago now. And it's still one of the most talked about animes. It's right up there with Naruto and Dragon Ball Z as like the most mainstream anime now. When you hear a celebrity talk about like, oh, what's your favorite anime? What do they say? Oh, I like Naruto. I like One Piece. I like Dragon Ball Z. I like Attack on Titan. I like Jujutsu Kaisen. Those are like some of the main shows you hear. You might hear like a Bleach reference. Maybe you might hear a Sailor Moon or a Pokemon reference. But most of the time, these are the ones you're going to hear. It's not often you hear a Cowboy Bebop reference, even though you should. But I think that's more of like the deep cut anime heads will be like, oh, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Yu Yu Hakusho. Those are the ones that are going to say those deep cut anime because they're going to look at it like, this was me right here. This was my vibe. This is what I used to do. So shout out to Attack on Titan because I can't front, man. I can't hate on that anime. It is legit one of the best anime ever made. Would I put it in my top 5? I probably wouldn't. But it was one of my best. It was one of the best anime I've ever seen. It ended very questionable, but it wasn't a trash ending. So I can't get mad at that. But the impact it had on the world is what you got to just be cool with. And if they do make some like live action Hollywood adaptation, hopefully they don't screw it up. But in the meantime, we're cool with the show. Did one last movie to bow out. And that's it. If we ever see it again, that means they're trying to reboot it. But it deserved this award. And this was the first one of its kind. It wasn't like they did a lot of these. This was the first one for the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. So shout out to them for that. Which brings me to a couple of final points. One, I am very shocked that, let's keep it a buck. Bleach didn't win any awards. One Piece won one award, but technically they didn't win any awards. Dragon Ball Daima didn't even get nominated at all. I don't know if they at least gave like a lifetime achievement award to Akira Toriyama. I've been looking it up. I haven't seen anything, but Dragon Ball Daima didn't get a single award. That definitely was cause for concern. It really was cause for concern. Because I sat there and I was like, damn, they didn't even nominate like the song, the opening theme with Zed or the ending theme. The ending theme for Dragon Ball Daima was pretty cool to me, but they didn't nominate none of those things. Goku wasn't nominated for main character, nothing. So this kind of shows me what the changing of the guard is. And what I mean by that is, if you look, since its inception of the Anime Awards, this was the Anime of the Year winners from the beginning. 2017 was Yuri on Ice. 2018 was Made in Abyss. 2019, Devilman Crybaby. 2020, Demon Slayer. I presume probably the first season. 2021, the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen. 2022, the final season of Attack on Titan. 2023, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, excuse me. 2024, Jujutsu Kaisen's second season. And 2025, Solo Leveling's first season. So I think we are now officially seeing the changing of the guard. We are seeing new shows step up and be mainstream in a world where a lot of the old mainstream shows are starting to slowly just ride off into the sunset. Now, granted, we did lose Akira Toriyama, and that sucked. But at the end of the day, we know that Dragon Ball is not going to be here forever. And the only person who will be forever is Garlic Jr. Oh, if you know, you know. Anyway, we do know that it's not going to be here forever. And it's slowly riding off into the sunset. Naruto, the anime itself, hasn't had a new episode in God knows how long. Boruto has not done a new episode, even though the manga is firing on all cylinders. One Piece had to take a 6-month break, but they're pushing themselves towards the final chapters. And they're going to be done. My Hero Academia is done. Attack on Titan is done. Jujutsu Kaisen's manga is done. And the anime is going to soon follow. Demon Slayer's manga is done, and the anime is going to finish up in movies. Haikyuu's manga is done, and the anime is also going to finish up in what I believe is either movies or just movies and TV shows, whatever. Even Mashle is finished in terms of the manga. So we'll never know whenever Hunter x Hunter is ever going to restart and consistently go to finishes. But what we do know is that a lot of our favorite animes and mangas are slowly riding off into the sunset. And this opens the door for these new type of projects like a Solo Leveling, or a Apothecary Diaries, or a Frieren. It opens the door for these new original projects that can do a one season and just be like, this is the best season. And I like that. I like that every year on here, only only one anime was on here twice for Anime of the Year. Every other year was something else. So that to me is pretty cool. That shows that there is a diverse nature. It's kind of like the NBA. For the last 7 years, it's been a different NBA champion. It hasn't been the same team every single year. And that's cool. Sometimes that's cool. And in this case, it's cool because there's so many anime. There doesn't need to be a moment where it's like, oh, it needs to be JJK again and again and again. Every year they make a new series, it needs to be JJK. No, it's okay to be like, you know what? This year it should be Solo Leveling. And then next year it should be something else. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Next year it should be One Piece. Unless something really fire comes out. The way One Piece has been firing before they took the 6-month break and after has been cinema. Between Wano, Egghead, and the climax of Egghead. And by next year, they should be in Elbaf. Come on now. Anime of the Year. Come on, at least. But now we got new stuff. We got Lazarus and so much other stuff. I do feel that they should do a worse anime one. And if they do, they need to get Uzumaki in that motherfucker. But that's neither here nor there. But I am very shocked that Dragon Ball Daima did not get nominated for anything. That's probably the one biggest snub from me, was that Dragon Ball Daima didn't. And for those of you who are like, well, it ended in 2025. No, it started in 2024. So for that, I do wonder why it didn't get nominated. Why Bleach didn't win a single award is also beyond me. I feel, because I'm trying to think back at a lot of the anime from 2024, and those should have been up there. There were some other ones, but this is where we at. This is where we are at. Maybe Blue Eye Samurai probably should have got original anime too. You know, there was something up there that was like, yo, what happened? But it's all based on you, the fans, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you, Crunchyroll, for doing this every single year. But anyway, in the meantime, in between time, follow on all social media, Nerds in the Hood. Check out the link tree in the description below. See what we rocking with. See what's going on. Who did you feel? What anime did you feel should have won an award or should have been nominated? What anime you felt got snubbed? Write it in the comments. Let's talk about it. You can even tell me I'm wrong. I don't care. I'm an adult. I can take it. But anyway, we'll catch you next time on another edition of Nerds in the Hood. I got to go watch my boys. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.
3 hours later.